Okay, so question number 1. Figurative language is when you use a word or phrase that does not have its normal, everyday, literal meaning. And I don't know why I didn't put a QR code on this slide, but I don't know what I was thinking. There we go. When you use a word or phrase that does not have its normal, everyday, literal meaning. So in your quiz, make sure you select does not have its normal, everyday, literal meaning. And then give me a thumbs up. Give me a thumbs up once you have answered that, since I did not put a QR code on here. Thumbs up, thumbs up. Abria, Adriana, Crystal, Ness, Melicity. Thumbs up. Okay. Awesome. So let's see which type of figurative language you guys have heard of before. So these are the types of figurative language that we're going to be talking about in class today. And once I activate these tags, just click the ones that you have heard of before. Okay. Come on, Engagely. There we go. Yeah. So simile, metaphor, personification, hyperbole, imagery, repetition, foreshadowing, and symbolism. So which of those have you heard of before? And if you haven't heard of any of them before, you don't know what any of them means, I got a box for that too. And that's okay. So which ones have you heard of before? And I am going to find the video that I want to play next. Where is it? Let's see. I see 6 answers. Everybody should be clicking something on the board. So either you've heard of one or more of these, or you haven't heard of any of them. And this just helps me know what I might need to talk more about. Abria, Adriana, Liliana, Kendall, Melicity, Ness. If you've heard of any of those, click it. And if you don't know any of them, click the box underneath that arrow. All right. So let's see. It looks like nobody clicked hyperbole or imagery. Oh, now we got 1 for imagery. Nobody clicked hyperbole, so might have to spend a little bit more time on that. Imagery and repetition don't have very many clicks, so maybe we'll have to spend more time on that. So the majority of you know metaphor and foreshadowing. Okay. All right, all right. Thank you for that. So let's stop that. And let's keep going. Okay, so we're going to watch a video, and in this video, it talks about similes, metaphors, personification, and hyperbole, and then we're going to discuss each type of figurative language after the video. Okay, you guys ready? This video is embedded in your quiz, so if you need to rewatch it again, you absolutely can, because it is embedded in your quiz. So let me get the link for that. Okay. So I like to talk about similes and metaphors together because they both compare things. Okay. So once you finish answering questions 2 through 4, click the button on the board so I know that you are ready. So similes and metaphors both compare things. Similes compare 2 unlike things using like or as. Okay. Like or as. And metaphors compare things in a more direct way that aren't literally true. So, for example, Mr. Simile here says, "You're as skinny as a rail." He's using as. Okay, so what is he comparing in this example? You're as skinny as a rail. What two things are being compared? Anybody? Who's he talking to? Hello? I need you guys to respond to me. Who is Mr. Simile talking to? Mr. Simile is the big guy with the S on his shirt. Who's he talking to? He's talking to Mr. Metaphor. Okay, so let me change my color here. I'll change it to blue. So he's saying you're, meaning Mr. Metaphor, is as skinny as a rail. So he's comparing Mr. Metaphor to what? A rail, yes. He's comparing him to a rail. And we've seen rails before, right? What kind of rails have you guys seen? There's a few different kinds. Give me an example of a rail. Anybody? Where do we see rails? Okay, put that in the main chat. Put it in the main chat so it's on the recording. Yeah, where do you see railings? Stairs, okay, like the handrail where that you have to hold on to go down the stairs, right? I have a 3-year-old, so I'm always telling her, hold on to the handrail. On a boat, so it's like a almost like a fence or something around the edge of the boat so you don't fall off, right? Trains are on rails, that's right. And we've seen them all before, so we know that rails are skinny, right? If you're holding onto the handrail going down the stairs, you can put your hand on it. It's that skinny, right? Yes, no, maybe so. Thumbs up, thumbs down. Yeah, so we understand that rails are skinny. We don't need anyone to explain it to us. So when he says you're as skinny as a rail, it makes sense to us, right? Because we can picture whatever railing we're thinking of, whether it's on the stairs, on a boat, or on a train, or like under a train, right? We know they're skinny. So that makes sense to us. So he's comparing his friend to a rail. Okay. So now Mr. Metaphor looks at his friend and says, and you're a mountain. So this is a more direct comparison, saying one thing is something else. Okay, so what is Mr. Metaphor comparing? What two things is Mr. Metaphor comparing? Okay, one of the things is a mountain, and what's being compared to a mountain? Mr. Simile. So his friend. So you're in the sentence. He's talking to his friend. He's comparing his friend to a mountain. And what do we know about mountains? They're big. Yes, they're big. And I think practically anywhere you are in California, you can look somewhere and see a mountain, right? Right. So we know what mountains are. We know they're big. So that makes sense to us. So when he says you're a mountain, we know he's saying that his friend is big. Okay? So these comparisons have to be understood. People have to know what it is or why you're comparing them. Just like in the video when she said, my father is a celery stalk, that doesn't make any sense. You know, unless there's some kind of understanding. If it was an inside joke between a family or something, then that might make sense to a certain family. But in general, the similes and metaphors have to have an understandable connection. Okay? Makes sense so far? Yes, no, maybe so. You guys got these questions answered? Similes and metaphors both compare things. A simile compares two unlike things using like or as, and a metaphor compares two things in a more direct way. Okay. So let's look at an example of a simile here. And I'm going to read the sentence, then I'll activate the tags, and you guys tell me what two things is the simile comparing. Okay. So the sentence says Justin Timberlake's hair is as curly as ramen. So what two things are being compared? Sentence. So you're selecting the two things that are being compared to each other. Two things that are being compared. What two things are being compared? And I'm going to get a timer on the board. There we go. And remember when we were talking about boy bands during the warm up? Justin Timberlake was in a boy band back in the day before he went solo. Do you guys know what boy band Justin Timberlake was in? Okay. Anybody? No? No? That's okay. He was in NSYNC. There you go. Good job. He was in NSYNC. Justin Timberlake probably had no control over whether or not he dyed his hair blonde. They probably made him do that because once he went out on his own, he stopped doing that. So that was not good for his hair. Okay, so let's take a look. Let me lock this and let's take a look at this. So it's not all of them. It's not the whole sentence, right? We're picking the two things that are being compared. Okay, and there's a hint on the board because there's pictures of them. Okay, so we're comparing poor Justin Timberlake's hair to ramen. All right, these two things are being compared because we all know what ramen looks like, right? We've all seen these bricks of ramen, yes? Yes, it looks just like his hair. Okay, so those of you who said curly, that is what we're saying about those two things. So curly is not being compared. Curly is what these two things are. Okay, does that make sense? Yes, no, maybe so. Okay, all right. And I know some of you clicked the as in the sentence, and I understand Why? Probably because we're talking about similes. Similes compare two things using like or as, but I wanted you to pick what two things are being compared. You got to know what two things are being compared. All right, good job. So Justin Timberlake's hair and ramen. Okay. So now let's make some similes. So what we're going to do is I'm going to give you guys whiteboard tools in just a second. And we are going to take either the pen tool or the highlighter tool, whichever one you want to use. And we're going to draw a line from one of the words in the top row through a like or an as. So don't go through the dots. We're not going through the dots. Okay, we're going through the likes or the as and into a word at the bottom. Okay, does that make sense? Yes, no, maybe so? Okay, awesome. So here you go. There's whiteboard tools, and let's make some similes. Let's see what we get. And you may have heard of some of these before. Okay, there we go. I was waiting for one of them because we can't go through the dots. The dot doesn't mean anything. Okay. All right, so let me stop that. And let's get my green highlighter out. Okay, so we got hard as a rock. Good job. And let me know if you've heard of these before. Sparkle like diamonds. Flat as a pancake. Busy as a bee. And hungry as a bear. Good job. Have you guys heard of those before? Yeah? All right. Awesome. Okay. So you'll see those in your quiz as well. Okay. So let's see what else we have. Metaphor. So a metaphor compares two things by saying one thing is another thing. So it's comparing two things in a more direct way. So what two things are being compared in this sentence? He has the heart of a lion. What two things are being compared? Let me get a timer up here. We still have about 7 minutes. Awesome. And you can take a look at your quiz if you want to see what the options look like. Maybe that'll help you. Let's take a look at the sentence. He has the heart of a lion. So what's the first thing that we're comparing? What's the first thing? This thing is being compared to this other thing. So what's the first thing? He. That's right. He. The guy in this sentence. That's what we're talking about. First off, he. So What is he being compared to? Is he being compared to a lion? Does it say he is a lion? If the metaphor was comparing him directly to a lion, it would say he is a lion. Yeah, it's not saying that. So what's it comparing him to? The heart of a lion. That's right. He's being compared to the heart of a lion. So he, over here, this guy, has the heart of a lion. That whole thing. Okay? All right. So what does that mean? If someone has the heart of a lion, what does that mean? That he's brave. That he's brave. How do we know that? How do we know that? How do we know that's what that means? Why do we think that? Their heart's big. Okay. Where do we get the idea from that lions are brave? Have we seen it anywhere else? Because they're kings. They're kings of the jungle. Okay. That makes sense. Kings of the jungle. So they got to be brave if they're kings of the jungle. Right? That makes sense. So we have something in our brain that helps us understand this comparison. Okay. That's my whole point. Okay. You could have seen a number of things. You could have read a book where you saw a lion that was brave or saw a movie or something, but there's something in your brain that helps you understand this comparison. Okay, whatever that is fine. Okay, good job. So make sure you have those answered because we're going to highlight the similes purple and the metaphors yellow. And remember, they both compare two things, but similes compare two things using like or as. So let me make that a little bit bigger. There we go. So what I want you to do when you're highlighting is find the like or as and highlight the like or as purple. So then you can be sure that you are getting, that you're highlighting it the correct color. And then highlight the metaphors yellow. All right, here we go. Let's highlight those sentences. Similes purple, metaphors yellow. So Remember, simile is used like or as to compare two things. So highlight the likes and ases that you see, purple, and that will tell you which ones are similes. Metaphors compare things by saying one thing is something else. Hello. Okay, I see a like highlighted purple. Her eyes glistened like stars. Fantastic. All right, flat as a pancake. Great. So somebody's not following directions at all. I don't know what's happening right now. House was as clean as a whistle. Remember, the only colors we should be using right now are purple or yellow. Red means nothing. Purple or yellow. And I'm going to get my green highlighter out. Glisten like stars, flat as a pancake, clean as a whistle, strong as a rhino, fresh as a daisy. Slept like a log, watched him like a hawk. Who's erasing my green dots? Don't erase my green dots. What are you guys doing? I'm marking these correct. Don't erase my green dots. You guys should only be worrying about purple or yellow. I see some stuff with two colors. What's happening? Similes use like or as. Find those likes or ases. What's happening? Let's look at these yellow ones. Garden was a jungle of weeds. That's right. She was fishing for compliments. That one's right. Clouds are balls of cotton. He broke my heart. I'm feeling blue. Teacher is a dragon. All right, we got another simile down here. Truck is as big as an elephant. All right, music to my ears. So if I didn't mark it green, it's because it's not correct. So we got the whole first row. That's good. So in the second row, we're missing light as a feather. What is that? Light as a feather. Is that a simile or a metaphor? Anybody? I felt as light as a feather. Is that a simile or a metaphor? Hello? What happened to everybody? Wake up! Give me a thumbs up if you can hear the words that are coming out of my mouth. Engagely's been weird today, so I want to make sure you can hear me. Thumbs up if you can hear the words that are coming out of my mouth. Thumbs up. Thumbs up. Thumbs up. Thank you, Jake. Thank you, Jasmine. Thank you, Keith. Thank you, Ricky. How about everybody else? Thank you, Fatima. Can anybody else hear me? Allah, Angelina, Deanna, Jose, can you hear me? Maite, Randy, can you hear me? I'm a little worried. Okay, why didn't you give me a thumbs up? Okay, so light as a feather. When I ask for thumbs up, I mean the react thing. Down at the bottom of the screen, click the react. It's a smiley face. That's the thumbs up I mean. There you go. Okay. Light as a feather. How can we figure out whether it's a simile or a metaphor? What do we need to look for? We're spending way too much time on this page. What do we look for? Like or as? Okay, so is there a like or as in I felt as light as a feather? Yes. Okay, so how come you guys highlighted this yellow? Where's my purple? Let's get the purple highlighter out. We're looking at the second row in the middle. There we go. There we go. Now it's right. Awesome. Felt as light as a feather. Okay, she lights up my life. Is that a simile or a metaphor? Let's get your highlighter out. There we go. It's a metaphor. Okay. Third, so we got the whole second row. Good job. Third row in the middle. My computer is an old dinosaur. There we go. Yellow. She is the apple of my eye. There we go. Metaphor. So we got that one. Next, it's a piece of cake. Metaphor. She was as sweet as pie. There we go. We got the as in there. That's a simile. She was as courageous as a lion. There we go. We found those as is. So it's a simile. All right, we got that one. They are two peas in a pod. All right, that's a metaphor. The incident was a real circus. There we go. No likes or asses in that one. My throat was as dry as a desert. There we go. Finding those asses. He was as fast as a cheetah. Fantastic. So we got that line now. Okay, the truck is as big as an elephant. We got that. The world is a stage. Right, that's a metaphor. His heart is as cold as ice, as easy as ABC. And my teacher's a dragon. Good job. All right, yay! Okay. So give me thumbs up or thumbs down if you think that was easy or hard. Thumbs up for easy, thumbs down for hard. I see some thumbs up. Okay. Everybody's giving me thumbs up, but we've spent the whole class period on this slide so far. So I don't know that it was easy for everybody. Hopefully you're feeling better about it now that we've gone over it. Okay. There you go. Okay, so next is personification. I like this one. Personification is a figure of speech in which a thing, something non-human, is given human characteristics. Okay. Sometimes people have a hard time wrapping their brain around this one. I love this one. So when we are talking about personification, let me get my pen tool up here. I want you to remember that there is the word person in this word, personification. So we are taking human characteristics, so things that humans can do, and giving it to non-human things. So for example, the flame of the candle danced in the dark. Okay, that's an example of personification. So for question 11, your job is to select the non-human thing and the human characteristic. So you're going to be selecting two things. Okay, does that make sense? Non-human thing and the human characteristic. All right, so let's try it. I'm going to put a timer up on the board. So we are selecting the non-human thing and the human characteristic. So it's not all of them. So let's start with the human characteristic. What is the human characteristic in this sentence? What is the thing that humans do? Tell me in the chat box. Danced. There we go. Danced is the human characteristic. So what is doing the dancing? Good job. The flame is doing the dancing. It's not the candle that's doing the dancing. The candle is the part made out of wax. That's not moving. Right? Have you guys ever seen a candle? That wax is not moving until it melts, but it's not moving. It's the flame. The flame is moving around and it looks like it's dancing. Okay? Make sense? It's not literally dancing. It just kind of looks like dancing. Okay. Cool. So let's try another one. The stars in the clear night sky winked at me. Come on, engage Lee. There we go. The stars in the clear night sky winked at me. So we're picking the human characteristic and the non-human thing that is being given that human characteristic. All right, so let's lock that. So what is the human characteristic? Winked, very good. And what is doing the winking? Yes, the stars are doing the winking. The stars. It's not the whole night sky that's doing the winking. It's just the stars. Have you guys ever been outside at night and looked up at the stars, and sometimes it kind of looks like they turn on and off, like they're twinkling or winking, right? Yeah. It's probably just something moving in front of it and blocking the light from our view, but it's still pretty. So it looks like they're winking. So it's not the whole night sky that's winking, just the stars. And what do you need to be able to wink? What do you need to be able to wink? What do we use? Eyes or eyelids? Yep. You got to have those. Stars don't have those. So that's why it's personification. Because stars don't have those eyes to be able to actually wink. Okay. Awesome. I hope this is making sense. Okay, so let me stop that. And let's take a look at this picture. And first, let me ask you, what non-human things are in this picture? Okay, flowers. Anything else? We don't have to only focus on the flowers in this picture. We can look at other non-human things too. Clouds, okay. Anything else? Any other non-human things? Trees in the back, the sun. Okay, okay, cool. That's good. Sky, clouds, flowers, trees in the back, the sun. Fantastic. Those are all non-human things. So now we got to think about what those non-human things are doing. So don't think about the human characteristic part just yet. Just think about what those non-human things are doing. So what are the clouds doing, for example? And if you need to, you can look outside, see if there's any clouds outside so you can see what they're doing. I just see gray, so there's not clouds. Or it's all clouds, I should say. So what do clouds do? Just normally. What do they do? Have you guys ever went outside and watched the clouds? They move around. Okay. So that's what they literally do. The clouds move. So what human characteristic could we use to explain that? Sometimes it helps if you imagine it's a cartoon, because that's what they do in cartoons is they personify everything. So what human characteristic could explain the moving? What human characteristics do we have that explain our moving? So how do we move as humans? Walking? Okay. Okay. That's a human characteristic. We walk. So you could put, or running. Yeah, sure. So you could put one of those words into a sentence with the clouds. So let's try that. Remember our sentence structure. Subject. If I could spell today. Verb. Object. Okay. So the walking, the running, the jogging, those are verbs. So what's the subject? What would the subject of that sentence be that we're creating? The clouds. Okay. So let's complete that sentence. Write the whole thing. The clouds. What? Need a verb. Come on. You guys got it. Okay, so that's what we have so far. The clouds. Now we need a verb and an object to finish the sentence. So what comes next? Pick one of those human characteristics. You got to write the whole thing so it makes sense. So we might need to change the ending or add a helping verb. So I want the whole sentence. Okay, the clouds are walking. So we have the clouds are walking. Now we need an object. So we need add something else. They're walking where? Where are they walking? Anybody? The clouds are walking in the sky. Okay, good. So that's a very simple personification sentence, but that's where we can start, you know. When it comes to editing, we can always add more, change things, whatever. But we got to start somewhere, right? And that's a start. Good job. So we gave clouds human characteristics. That's personification. Yay! I need a party hat emoji for that. Very good. I love it. Yay, another party hat emoji. Yay, more party hat emojis. I love those party hat emojis. It makes me happy for some reason. Okay. All right, fantastic. So let's move on to hyperbole. So hyperbole is an exaggerated statement, not meant to be taken literally. And really, none of these figurative language types are meant to be taken literally because it's figurative language. So hyperbole are extreme exaggerations. Okay, exaggerated statement. And this hopefully should be easy for teenagers because teenagers tend to exaggerate. I know because I used to be a teenager. So we're going to look at lots of examples in a little bit. So this example on the board, I'm so hungry I could eat a horse, is an exaggerated statement. He's not so hungry right now that he could actually eat a horse. Do you guys know how big horses are? Anybody know how much horses weigh? Take a guess. Somebody throw a weight in the chat box. Let's take a guess. What do you think? Throw a number in the chat box. Any number at all. How much do you think horses weigh? £500. A small pony could weigh 500 pounds. Have you guys seen those little ponies? Those could weigh 500 pounds. 1,000 pounds? Yeah. Yeah, like the riding horses could weigh 1,000 pounds. How much do you think one of those big horses could weigh, like a Clydesdale or a Belgian? Clydesdales are huge. How much do you think those could weigh? They can weigh over 1,800 pounds. I don't know if maybe the famous Clydesdales, because those are huge. Those famous ones. I don't know if you guys have ever seen those Clydesdales, but maybe those ones weigh 2,500 pounds. Over 1,800 pounds, they could weigh close to 2,000 pounds. Absolutely, they could weigh that much. They're huge. Okay. Do you guys know how heavy that is? That's pretty big, right? Do you guys know how much steaks usually weigh? Have you guys ever had a steak? Yes, no, maybe so. Thumbs up, thumbs down. If you eat meat, have you ever had a steak? I see some thumbs up. Okay. Steaks are sold by weight and they're sold by ounces. Okay, so you could get an 8-ounce steak, a 10-ounce steak, a 16-ounce steak. 16 ounces is a pound. It's a pretty big steak, pretty good sized steak. But 16 ounces is a pound. So imagine a horse that weighs 2,000 pounds. That would be a lot of steaks. Not quite 2,000 steaks because we got other stuff in there that we wouldn't be able to eat, right? But think about it. Almost 2,000 steaks? How long would it take you to eat 2,000 steaks? If you had one a day, that'd be 2,000 days. How long is that? Anybody? Let's do the math because I'm curious. This is Mrs. Beanies going off on a tangent right now. That happens sometimes. So let's say we had 2,000 steaks and let's divide that by a year. So if you had one steak a day, 2,000 steaks would take you almost 5.5 years to eat it, to eat 2,000 steaks. Isn't that crazy? Right? So can you see how that is an extreme exaggeration? He might be really hungry right now, but he would not be able to eat a horse. So it's an extreme exaggeration. Okay, so we only have a couple of minutes left, but let's see what we can do in those couple of minutes. So let's highlight the hyperboles. You guys can pick whichever color you want. Pick your favorite color, and let's find the hyperboles. Okay, so remember, extreme exaggerations. Let's use the highlighter so we can still read it. The highlighter tool is underneath the paintbrush tool or pen tool. Okay, so let's see. I'm gonna get my green highlighter out. Come on, Engagely. There we go. All right, I was dying of laughter. Yep. Were they literally dying? Yes or no? No. This bag weighs a ton. Do you guys know how much a ton weighs? It's 1,000 pounds. Their bag doesn't literally weigh a ton. I could sleep forever. No, you couldn't. She talks a mile a minute. We don't even measure speaking in miles a minute. That's an exaggeration. These shoes are killing me. You're not literally dying. Took me forever to find you. It didn't take forever. My dad is always working. Whenever you see those extreme words, always or never, it's going to be a hyperbole. My homework took me forever to finish, not in a million years. Okay, I don't know why Mrs. Beanius is my teacher is underlined, but that's not an exaggeration. I actually am your teacher. So that's not a hyperbole. And I ate the whole pie yesterday. Is it possible to eat a whole pie? What do you think? Is it possible to eat a whole pie in a day? Yes or no? What do you think? Looking at the top left, second from the left. Yes or no? Is it possible to eat a whole pie in a day? Yeah, sure it is. So that's not an exaggeration. Have you guys ever seen those pie eating contests? They eat more than one pie. I could absolutely eat a whole pie in a day. I might not feel good, but I could do it. Okay, so let's make our own hyperboles real quick. Let's annotate this screen and use the post-it note tool or the text box tool, whichever. I like the post-it note tool. So let's imagine that this lady is coming into work and she sees all these papers in her inbox. What could she say that is a hyperbole? Hyperboles are extreme exaggerations. So what could she say? Let's do this quick. We have lots of activities today that I want to get through so we can play Kahoot tomorrow. So what could she say? Extreme exaggeration. What could she say about those papers? Imagine it's you and you look at your desk and you have all this homework to do. What would you say? I know you guys wouldn't just sit there silently. You'd say something. That's a lot of work. Okay, it is a lot of work. So let's exaggerate it. What does a lot mean? What can we put in that space? Instead of a lot, let's use a number or an amount or something that's extreme. How much work is it? That's a mountain of work. Okay. That might be closer to a metaphor, but could also be a hyperbole. Things can, you know. No, we didn't do question 15 yet. What else? We're talking about the image on the board. So let's throw out a number that's an extreme exaggeration that couldn't possibly be true. How many papers are there? This is going to take a year. Okay. I mean, that's not as extreme as I would have gone, but okay. 100? There's probably more than 100 papers there. 2,000? There could be 2,000 papers there. Have you guys ever seen those packets of printer paper? I have one right here. Ugh. Printer paper. Do you guys know how many pieces of paper are in one of these packets of printer paper? Do you guys know? Nope, more. There's 500. So 500 pieces of paper is not that much. Like you can hold that in your hand. It's not a whole lot. So saying 1,000 or even 2,000 pieces of paper, that's not a lot. 2,000 pieces of paper would be 4 of these. That's not a lot. So let's go even bigger, even more extreme. Trillions. Yeah, there we go. That's hyperbole. There are trillions of papers that I need to complete. That's hyperbole. I told you this a million times. Yes. Yes, that's hyperbole. Okay. Good job. Fantastic. So, I have a ton of work to do. It's going to take me 1 billion years to finish my work, things like that. Good job. All right, we're not going to do these. Let's watch a video. I got a video for you guys. So this video is about imagery. And the next few questions in our quiz are about imagery. All of the answers for the next few questions are in the video. So if you pay attention, you can answer them while we watch the video. Okay. And then we're going to talk about them. So let's watch this. Questions 15 and 16. So some of the best, and this comes directly from the video, some of the best writers can create pictures with words, transporting a reader to a new place, inviting them to experience the story with their five senses. So imagery is descriptive language that appeals to the five senses. And those five senses are touch, sight, taste, smell, and hearing. Okay. So answer those two questions in your quiz. I'm going to put 30 seconds on the timer to give you guys a little bit of time. Make sure we answer those, and then we'll move on. Click the button on the board once you have answered questions 15 and 16. Okay, so I see 7 of you have clicked that button on the board. How about everybody else? How you guys doing? Do you have it answered? Jake, Maite, Randy, Savannah? You guys answer it in the quiz? Click that button on the board. All right. All right, so let's take a look at the passage from the giver. I'm going to activate these, and you guys are going to tell me which sense this passage appeals to. The first wave of pain, Jonas gasped. It was as if a hatchet lay lodged in his leg, slicing through each nerve with a hot blade. In his agony, he perceived the word fire and felt flames licking at the torn bone and flesh. Let me get a timer up on the board. So click one of the senses. Whichever sense you think this, and then I'm going to give you guys whiteboard tools so you can highlight which one you think. So I'm going to write the numbers underneath these because I'm not going to tell you guys yet because I want you guys to find it in the chat box or in the passage. So we got 721. Okay. Annotate screen. So we got 7, 2, and 1. Those were your answers. Okay, so I want you to take your highlighter and highlight in the passage the words that show which sense you thought it was appealing to. So how do you know? Those of you who picked touch, those of you who picked sight, those of you who picked taste, highlight what shows those. What part of the passage? Let's not highlight everything. And we need different colors for different senses. So we know what's what. So what's that yellow one? Okay, we got 2 people that are not agreeing on the color of touch. Okay, so I see hatchet lodged in his leg, slicing through each nerve. The word felt is also highlighted for touch. Okay. Okay, so what was that? Okay, felt flames, so that's touch again. So do we have anything for sight or taste? Is the purple one supposed to be for taste? You guys are going way too crazy. I'm going to have to stop that. Way too crazy on the board here. Got to be able to see it. So tell me in the chat box, is that purple supposed to be for taste? Yes, no, maybe so? Yeah? Okay. So is it us who is supposed to be tasting something? Like what do you taste? So I understand why you highlighted it, because it's probably because of this word licking, right? But what is licking? The flames are licking. So what type of figurative language is that? We've talked about this before, right? This is another one of our types of figurative language. What do you need to be able to lick something? It's not a metaphor. What do you need to be able to lick something? There we go, Ricky. It is personification. You need a tongue to be able to lick something. Flames don't have tongues. So that's giving human characteristics to something not human. So that's personification. It's a great example of personification. Okay? So it's not taste, because we're not tasting anything. It's not appealing to our taste. Okay? All right. And I didn't see anything highlighted for sight. There's nothing described, right? I don't know what anything looks like. Doesn't tell me what any of this stuff looks like. But I do see something else that could go for touch. Waves of pain or agony. So when you guys are in pain, have you ever been in pain before? We all have at some point, right? When you're in agony, that's feeling. So touch isn't always fingertips, because you can feel things everywhere. Okay, so this one is touch. Let me get my green highlighter tool out here and circle that one. Touch. Okay, good. It was in the video too. All right, so let's try the Hunger Games. Come on, engage, Lee. A foul, rotten taste pervades my mouth, and the water has little effect on it. I drag myself over to the honeysuckle bush and pluck a flower. I gently pull the stamen through the blossom and set the drop of nectar on my tongue. The sweetness spreads through my mouth, down my throat, warming my veins with the memories of summer. So how many correct answers do we have for question 18 in your quiz? 2, that's right. So we are selecting 2 cents. 51821. 51821. 51821. 51821. Come on. 51821. 51821. Let me make that 8 better. There we go. Okay, so those were your numbers. So let's highlight neatly this time. Make good choices. Let's highlight neatly. Okay, you guys are picking the colors already. Okay, so the colors for a couple are already, look at the dots, because I like how neat those dots are. So let's focus on those colors and let's all just follow those colors. I don't know who chose them, but I love it. It's nice and neat. So let's go with those colors. I love it. Okay, so what words go with which senses? Okay. So it says my mouth, but that doesn't necessarily mean it's taste, because remember, you can feel things everywhere in your body. So where's the taste part? How do we know it's taste? And I don't think everybody is following the colors, so we can't highlight everything. So we're supposed to be following the colors. You guys see those color dots? On the left-hand side of the senses? That's what you should be using to highlight. So all I see highlighting is yellow, green, and pink. And they don't match with anything. So let's try this again. Okay. So stop what you're doing right now. Stop what you're doing. And I'm gonna delete these. So nobody do anything right now. So I'm gonna delete all this highlighting. I'm gonna delete all these green dots. Okay, so touch is gray. Sight is purple. Taste is blue. Smell looks like red or pink. And hearing is green. Okay, so there's already colors there. So we're highlighting in the text the words that would match those senses. And thank you for putting that in the chat box. So if you see anything that makes us think of touch, highlight in gray. Pluck a flower, okay. What's the teal? I see people highlighting in teal. There's no teal. Teal is between blue and green. So light blue, the middle one. Light blue for taste. Okay, sweetness. Sweetness spreads through my mouth, down my throat. Okay. So that works for taste. Is this teal at the top also supposed to be for taste? Okay. So a foul, rotten taste pervades my mouth. That's also supposed to be the light blue color. So let's make that light blue. And Engagely tells you the colors if you hover your mouse. Whoops, that's not it. Come on, Engagely. Engagely will tell you the colors if you hover. There we go. Thank you. If you hover your mouse over the different blocks. Okay. And we got gray for I gently pull. Okay. Anything else for touch? We got a lot for taste. So for sure taste is one of the answers. So let me get my green here and I'm going to circle the mouse. So for sure taste is one of the answers. Do we have anything else for touch? Drag myself over. Okay. Anything else? Because you're right, it is touch. But anything else? How about warming my veins? Have you guys ever had something warm like coffee or hot chocolate or something and you were really cold and you took a sip and you could feel it? Like go throughout everywhere and warm you up? That's what that makes me think of. Warming my veins. Okay. All right. Okay, so let's select all of the examples that include repetition. Come on, Engagely. Activate. There we go. All right, which of these examples include repetition? And I'm going to put a timer on the board. There we go. Which of these examples include repetition? All right, let's see. All right, welcome to the new age, to the new age. Welcome to the new age, to the new age. Repetition, obviously. Whoa, whoa, I'm radioactive. Repetition. The other two, just lyrics. And then the last one, I do not like them in a box. I do not like them with a fox. It's that beginning part that is repeating. So it doesn't have to be the whole thing that's repeating. It could just be the first part of a line that's repeating. Okay, good job. Fantastic. So now let's talk about foreshadowing. I don't have a fun activity for foreshadowing. So just select the button on the board once you answer questions 21 and 22 while I talk about it. Foreshadowing is the author leaving hints or clues to suggest events that will occur later in a work of literature. The writer uses foreshadowing to build their readers' expectations, create suspense. So an example of foreshadowing is maybe a weapon is found in a drawer early in a story, so that would foreshadow that weapon being used at some point in the story, because authors are not going to show you something like that and then it have nothing to do with anything, right? In movies, they do this a lot. Maybe the camera will pan to somebody's shoes or something. So you know those shoes are going to be important later. And maybe you'll see somebody wearing shoes that matched the killer's shoes or something. They do that all the time. So just little hints or clues. And you might not always pick up on all the foreshadowing in books or movies that you're watching, and that's okay. If you watch it again, you'll probably notice the second time around. It's okay if you don't pick up on all of it, but it's there, and it's probably in the back of your mind somewhere. Okay. All right. Everybody should be answering these quickly. So click that button on the board once you answer 3 questions associated with symbolism. So a symbol is something that stands for or represents something else. A symbol is something that stands for or represents something else. Symbolism is the use of the symbols to represent ideas. And if you watched Hunger Games, have you guys watched Hunger Games at all? Thumbs up if you have. Hunger Games? I like Hunger Games. Books are better, but movies are pretty good. No, no, no. Oh, okay. Well, Hunger Games is a fantastic example of symbolism, so you guys should really watch it. There's a part where the main character Katniss, she puts up 3 fingers, and the cameras can see her because they're in a televised battle royale thing where they have to kill each other. So she holds up her 3 fingers, and that lets everybody else know that she's part of the revolution and she's with them and stuff. So it's a symbol because it allows the author to communicate ideas beyond what is explicitly written in the text. If you have to explain it all, that's a lot of explaining. So just her doing the salute thing tells a lot. Okay. There's also the Mockingjay pin. She buys it at the beginning, and it's just a pin that she's going to give to her sister. But that symbol changes that as the books and the movies progress, it becomes a symbol of the revolution. So authors use the symbols to stand for important ideas in a text. It allows the authors to communicate bigger ideas without having to explain every little thing. The symbols can have more than one meaning or change meanings, and symbolism can also be found in illustrations. Okay, so click that button on the board once you have answered all of those questions, everybody, and then we're going to play Kahoot because we have until 12:50. Okay, Deanna, Fatima, Jordan, Jose, Maite. You guys got those answered? Okay, there's lots and lots of symbols. Can you guys think of any symbols that you've seen? Anything that stands for something else? They do it in movies all the time. Like if it's raining in a movie, it's probably because it's like a sad part of the movie. If the sun's shining, it's going to be a happy part of the movie, things like that. Flags, yeah, flags too. Absolutely. Colors can be symbols. That's why we have a color wheel on the, it's not the color wheel, but it's a color wheel on the board. Different colors can mean different things. Yeah, for sure. Animals can represent things. Okay, awesome. So all of the questions after this, so question 26 to 33 are on your own questions. There's examples and it will give you choices, and you just got to pick what type of figurative language it is. Okay. All right. So let's stop that and take a look at this Kahoot. Yeah, absolutely. Just watch the recording for anything that you miss. All right, so we're going to play Kahoot. So let me get this open and I'll get you the game pin. So click that link so you're ready to enter the game pin once that loads. Come on. Kahoot's been taking a while to load today. There we go. Let's do spring mode. Ooh, pretty. I've never seen spring mode before. Or I've never noticed it. Let me see. There we go. Okay, there is the game pin. When you log in, use your first name and a last initial if you need to. If you share a name with somebody, make sure you use that last initial so I know who to give extra credit to. Because whoever gets on the leaderboard gets extra credit. All right, awesome. I chose spring mode. I've never seen spring mode before. I've seen winter mode, but not spring mode. It's kind of pretty. It's bright. Brighter than I thought it was going to be. All right, we got Jake, we got Ricky, we got Randy, we got Keith. Come on, everybody else, log in. Deanna, Fatima, Jordan, Jose, Maite. There's one of the Jordans. Get logged in, everybody. This is going to be a good review. You want to play this Kahoot. because it's going to help you. Let's get logged in. Yes. Less than a minute, and then we're going to get started. I worry about those who never participate in anything. Life is full of opportunities to participate. And it makes life so much more fun when you participate. Okay. I'm going to start this. I'm not going to lock it. So if anyone out there decides that they want to log in and play, you can. There are a lot of opportunities for double points. So and 30 seconds per question. You're logging in? Awesome. So I'll give it a second so you can get logged in and don't miss anything. The music on this spring mode is very calming. There we go. All right, awesome. And again, anyone else who's not logged in yet, you absolutely can log in at any point in time. There we go. Flowers in the Kahoot. Look at that. Double points right off the bat. Smells like Teen Spirit. I don't know about these red numbers, though. I've never seen them red like this. I think it's just spring mode. It's all weird. Smells like Teen Spirit. It's a simile. Smells like Teen Spirit. I don't know what smells like Teen Spirit, but something does. Does anyone actually know the words to that song? Because I don't know most of the words to that song. I like the Weird Al version better. Okay. So that is a simile. If you haven't heard the Weird Al version, listen to that. It's hilarious. Ooh, the leaderboard is red too. My goodness. Okay. We got Keith and Randy on the leaderboard. Fantastic. This type of figurative language is an extreme exaggeration, not meant to be taken literally. Extreme exaggeration, not meant to be taken literally. Hyperbole. Good job. Everybody got it. Hyperbole is an extreme exaggeration, not meant to be taken literally. Everybody's got points on this leaderboard now. Good job. Double points. Handsome, you're a mansion with a view. You're a mansion with a view. That's what we're looking at for these lyrics. You're a mansion with a view. Metaphor. Remember, metaphors compare two things more directly by saying one thing is something else. You're a mansion with a view. All right, look at that. We got all kinds of people on the board now. Fantastic. This type of figurative language is the action of repeating something that has already been said or written. The act of repeating something that has already been said or written. Repetition. Everybody got it. Repetition, repeating. You guys got it. Oh, Ricky and Fatima moving up. Double points. The clouds outside of the Boeing 747 window were whimsical. Gazing out at them, I felt weightless in awe of their beauty. Each one so unique, my eyes fixed upon blissful sky. I was entranced at how magical they were. What type of figurative language is that? Imagery. Imagery. It's not simile. Similes compare two things using like or as. This is imagery, those senses, right? Describing things using the senses. All right, we got some place changes, Jake, in second. All right. This type of figurative language gives human characteristics to things that are not human. Giving human characteristics to things that are not human. There we go. Everybody got it. Personification. And personification has the word person in it. Personification, giving human characteristics to things that are not human. All right, Ricky's in second. Good job. Y'all want that extra credit, huh? Double points. Man, I'm sweating like a dog out here. Man, I'm sweating like a dog out here. Simile, comparing two things using like. Metaphors don't use like. All right, Ricky's in first, Jake's in second. Good job. This type of figurative language paints a picture in the reader's mind. Paints a picture in the reader's mind. Imagery. Good job. You guys all got it. Using those senses to paint a picture in the reader's minds. Double points. Then a why would dove hold? That means always have to hold stuff. Symbolism. That's right. Symbolism. We're not giving the dove any human characteristics, so it's not personification. The dove just flew across the sky. Symbolism. Doves mean peace. Okay, these kingdoms were obviously at war, but now that a dove flew across the sky, it symbolizes peace. And now beautiful sunset. Okay, Keith's in second, Jordan's in third. Fantastic. Ricky's on fire. This type of figurative language compares two unlike things by using like or as. Compares two unlike things using like or as. Simile. Good job. You guys all got that one. Is that one easy? Simile. Double points. I am thoughtful and contemplative. I want a unicorn. I worry about death. I am thoughtful and contemplative. Repetition. I am thoughtful and contemplative is said at the beginning and at the end of this passage. It's not personification. We're not giving human characteristics to anything. Repetition. All right, hold on to those spots. Jordan's on fire. Keep going. Double points. You start to freeze as horror looks you right between the eyes. You start to freeze as horror looks you right between the eyes. There we go. Personification. This one is personification. We're giving human characteristics to something not human. What is looking you right between the eyes? Horror. Horror doesn't have eyes. How can it look at you? So we're giving those characteristics to something that is not human. All right. Good job. Holding tight to those spots. You guys have been in the same places for a while. This type of figurative language is when the author leaves clues about events that will occur later in the work. The author leaves clues about events that will occur later in the work. Foreshadowing. Good job. Only 4 people answered this time. What happened? Everybody's got to try. Keep trying. All right. Jordan's still on fire. Double points. It's so fluffy, I'm going to die. Enough time to finish this, I think. It's so fluffy, I'm gonna die. Hyperbole. Yeah, she's not literally gonna die. It's an exaggeration. The team is rising up. Good job. This type of figurative language compares things in a more direct way. Metaphor, good job. Remember, simile and metaphors both compare things. Similes use like or as. Metaphors say one thing is something else. Keith is on fire. Double points. This girl is on fire. When I said Keith is on fire, that was also this same type of figurative language. Hyperbole. Great job. Everybody got it. Not literally on fire, just doing a fantastic job. Ricky's on fire. This type of figurative language is when something stands for or represents something else. I got one more question after this. We can do it. When something stands for or represents something else. Symbolism. You guys got it. Symbols stand for things. Jordan's on fire now. Last question. Double points. Look at the picture. What type of figurative language is this an example of? Take a look at that picture. What type of figurative language is this? Look at the picture very closely. Foreshadowing. Good job. The turkey said, hey kids, what's for dinner? Tell me in the chat box, what's for dinner? Tell me in the chat box. How do we know what's for dinner? Not the kids. The kids aren't for dinner. The turkey's for dinner. The turkey's for dinner. What did that shadow show? There was no head on the shadow. So this foreshadowing was literally a shadow. All right, podium, and then we're done. We're a little bit over. Jordan's in third. If you guys want to go, you can. Keith's in second. Ricky's in first. Yay! We got some runners up, Fatima and Jake S. Fantastic. Have a wonderful day. Let me know if you have any questions, and I will see you guys next week. Don't forget to submit your figurative language quiz. Bye, everybody. Have a great weekend. Bye.